Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Tech Thursday with the Port Moody Public Library from home. I'm here with Virginia. Hey, Virginia.
Hello, how's it going?
All right, how are you today?
Good.
Good.
Apologies for the noise outside.
It's good on my end.
Yeah, grass cutting always happens whenever I need to be on screen, so.
Yeah, Murphy's Law
Always,
tends to happen, but as other people have probably noticed, being at home all the time, we just kind of have to work around it. So thanks everybody for sticking in. If anybody is out there and wants to say hi or have some questions for us about today's topic, please do put a comment in under this video. We do monitor those comments and we would love to hear from you. Well, Virginia, we've talked about a variety of different tech products offered by the library on our previous Tech Thursdays. But today we have something that's a little bit different, yet I think would be still very useful to all of our viewers at home. And that product is, drumroll, Google Docs. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar with what Google Docs is, in a nutshell, it's word processing. Word processing platform that's part of like an office productivity suite of products offered by Google through their Google Drive platform. Now, this is a completely free resource that anybody with an internet connection and a computer or a tablet, for example, or phone even, can access through a web browser. And we'll talk in a bit about why Google Docs is such a useful tool and why you might want to consider using it as an alternative to something you may already have built into your computer, like Microsoft Word, for example. Not knocking Word, but just saying that that is an alternative out there for you. Now,
free.
And it's free, that's right. We like offering products and tech tips about things that are free and are accessible to everybody. So for our purposes, Virginia, of telling everybody why it's so useful, why don't you tell me why you use Google Docs?
Right. Well, so like you said, starting work, I already used Google Docs beforehand, but definitely noticed how useful it is after I started working from home, because I do not have Microsoft Office, which of course many of you give you work, you likely be using Microsoft Office from work, but I don't have that on my computer. But Google Docs is just exactly the same, and as Liz will show you later, it works pretty much the same way. It does exactly the same thing. It's got all the different functions, all the fancy formatting, all the everything that you need anyway, just like Microsoft Word. And of course, you can also save it in different formats. So you can pretend to have Microsoft Word by saving it as a Word format too. So it's really handy if you need just to type something up, like, and type a document, type your resume, type an essay or whatever, and you can just use Google Docs. The nice thing I also like is because I don't have to worry about which computer I'm using or what phone I'm using. I can always access that no matter where I am. So if I'm on a different computer, as long as I sign in with my Google account, I'll be able to access the document. So that's really handy. So sometimes I'll be started a document on my computer and then I'll go on my phone and continue. So it's really handy that way, because then you don't have to be like, oh, I have saved this file on my computer, and now you have to like put it on a flash drive so they can bring it to work or whatever. It's all available to you because it's not stored on any of your computer. It's just stored in the cloud. So it's really nice that way. And I find it really easy to use personally. So I use Google Doc quite a bit, almost pretty much everything I have sent you, Liz, since the library closed is on Google Docs. And of course, the other thing that we use it a lot too is to brainstorm and share and work on a document together. So that really helps because you can actually edit a document or at the same time. So you and me could be working on the same thing at the same time on the same document. So we're not sending emails back and forth with different versions, trying to figure out like which is the latest version, that someone has edited. So it's really nice that way. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
those are some great points. It really does help us out, like when you and I are sharing documents, and
yeah.
like you just said, we're not, for example, working off of the wrong version. So if we are collaborating on something and you make some edits and then I go in and I make some edits, I get to see yours in real time right away. So I know that I'm not revising something that maybe is already old news at that point.
Yeah. When it's also nice because you can also keep track. Like if I want to see, I wonder what list has changed on the document, there's also a way for you to take a look. So version control, what they call version control, is basically built into Google Docs. You can actually see a history of the changes that have been made. So what list has deleted, what list has added, then it's really easy to keep track. Then you can kind of like, what's new on this document? You can kind of see a list of it. So that's handy, very handy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Also, autosave. It's something that I don't even think about anymore when I'm using Google Docs, but it's just reassuring if I'm just typing away on a document, working really intently, and then I go, oh, did I save that? What if the power goes out? What if I lose my internet connection? What if my computer crashes? It's nice that Google, within Google Drive, it'll autosave periodically as you work along your document. So if you ever do encounter a blip, usually you don't lose much, if anything, depending on when the last autosave was.
Yeah. When that's one of the things, I think the biggest question when we at work, our coworkers start using Google Docs from home, was the first question that everybody asks is like, how do I save this? How do I save this? Because I think that was the biggest confusion. It's like, there's no save button, because you don't have to. Google just does it automatically. Every time you stop typing, basically it is going to like do an auto save for you. And I think that was sort of one of probably the most confusing thing for people who are used to saving their own documents every 5 minutes to make sure they don't lose something. Like, it's like, where is the save button? So there is none. You don't need one.
There is none. I think I still, out of habit, use the hotkeys to go Control Save, Control Save as I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Just so I don't get out of that habit if I'm using a different word processing program.
Yes.
Well, shall we dive right into Google Docs
please.
And show everybody what we're talking about?
Yes, please.
Awesome. All right, we'll just flip over to a Google Drive account that we at the library already have, so you can see what it looks like when you first log in. So I won't take you through the login process, but essentially, if you head over to the Google page and log into your Gmail account, if you have Gmail, you have access to Drive as well as Google Docs, as we're talking about today. Once you log into Google, you'll notice that your icon will change. So either an initial, or it will have your picture if you've uploaded one already. Now, once you've logged in, then all you have to do is to click on this grid of 9 dots here, and you can see that it will reveal the Google Apps. So if we click on that, this shows you everything that you have access to as part of your Google account. And within this menu, we have Drive. So that is your drive, or your virtual hard drive in the cloud of items that you have saved. So once we click on that, it takes you to a view that would be similar to this. So right now we are in My Drive, or the drive of the account that we have logged into. Now you can see that we have some documents that we have created in the past. But today, let's show you how to create a new Google Doc. All we have to do is click on this handy button up here that says New, and then that brings up a menu. So I can choose to do some organization in my Drive, which we won't cover today. But you'll notice at the end of the menu here, we have Google Docs as the first product. I can either go ahead and click right there, which will open up a new document for me. Or if I click on this, or rather hover over this arrow, it allows me to select from a blank document or to create a document from a template. If you're familiar with Microsoft Word and have used templates in that platform before, this is very similar, and I'll show you quickly what that looks like. And bear with me, just changing tabs here. All right, so I have opened up the create a new document from a template, and it takes me to this menu. So these are all free templates available from Google. If I was writing a resume, for example, and I like the look of this preview, then I can go ahead and click that and select it, and it brings up an editable version of this particular document. And that goes for any of these other templates here, including brochures, reports, and letters. Even a pet resume. I don't think I've seen that before. I like it though. You know, if
what is happening?
Cat was applying for some meaningful, gainful employment, that might come in handy. You'll also notice that from here, if I decide not to use a template, I don't have to go all the way back to create a blank document. So I'll just do that here. Just by clicking on that, it will open up a new doc for me. I'm just going to minimize this here. So as we mentioned, when you are working on your Google document, the system will save it automatically for you, which is very handy. When that's the case, though, how do we actually name our file? Well, easily enough, we can just go ahead and click up here where it says Untitled Document, which is the default name of any new document that you create. And just by clicking in here, I can go ahead and change the name of it. Tech Thursday. And then when I click out of it, you can see now it has saved it to the drive. Now this interface may look very familiar to you. It is indeed very similar to Microsoft Word. So if you have used it in the past, then this will likely be a breeze for you. But I will go over what some of the icons on the bar up here do, as well as go through what some of the features of these menus up here do. So probably one of the most basic aspects of Google Docs is formatting our text. So if we were to enter some sample text in our document,
Liz, I just have to say, typing on this other side sounds like eating.
Oh, does it?
I was just like, what is she eating? No, she's typing, not eating.
That sounds rather obnoxious. If I could only eat and type at the same time.
It totally sounds like eating noises. Sorry.
I apologize if anybody's eardrums were assaulted by that.
I noticed. It was just like, I was like, wait, what?
We learned so much working from home about what broadcasts sound like on the other end, I gotta tell you. Okay, well now we have some sample text here. So default is Arial. That's the font name, and then also the size of it is 11. So if we wanted to change that, of course, all we have to do is highlight the text that we want to change. And you can see here, we do have a number of popular fonts available to choose from. So if I wanted to make this line Verdana, then now it's Verdana. And if I wanted to change the size of it, I can go ahead and do that. Now we also have our standard bold, italics, and underline functions. Again, as simple as selecting the text that you want to have those changes applied to and clicking on that. If you want to undo, if you know your hotkeys and go Control Z, that's great. You can also go ahead and undo using this arrow all the way to the left. Undo is your friend. Or if you go, you know, I like that text better, underline, you can also redo. You can also change the color of the text. And this pen here is highlight color. So if we wanted to highlight this sentence, then all we have to do is select a color from the highlight menu. If you're ever in Google Docs and not particularly sure of what any of these icons are, you'll notice that when we do hover over an icon, it gives you a tooltip that will tell you what that icon does or will change for you. I'm going to skip ahead past these ones here to these alignment buttons here. So if you want all of your text to be left justified, or perhaps we want to center this in the middle of our document, it's just a click away. You can also make lists, numbered lists, bulleted lists. I'm going to left justify this. So if we changed what our text was going to look like, started writing down a few things, or typing rather, and we wanted to make a list, just as with any other word processing software, you can highlight and choose either a numbered list or a bulleted list. Clicking on bulleted list will immediately apply the default bullet to each of those items. But if we wanted to change the shape of them, we can click on this little arrow to the right of that icon and choose what type of bullets we want. If we're writing a paragraph of text, we can work on our indents. So if I were to tab, then you'll notice that my cursor is going ahead at different increments, and I can start a paragraph at that particular indent. Now, if I wanted to add something else to my document, such as a hyperlink. So for example, if you're sharing this document with somebody online and you want them to be able to click through to a specific website, we can go ahead and do that here. You can enter what you want your link to be called. And then you can type in your hyperlink. And the amazing thing about Google, because its products are all tapped into the Google search system, it's recognized that I've typed in Port Moody Public Library, and it's made a suggestion as to what the link should be. And that's quite accurate. So I'm happy with that, so I'm going to go apply. So now you can see we've got Port Moody Public Library, and it is hyperlinked. So when I click on there while I'm editing the document, I can see where exactly it's going to take the end user of this document. You can also insert pictures. So if you insert image here, then you can either select a file from within your computer, search the web. Also, if you happen to back up photos onto your drive or save photos to your Google Drive, then you can go directly in there. No need to download it to your device first. You can go directly into your Google Drive since everything is linked to your sign-in. Virginia, is there anything before I move on to the menus, the drop-down menus? Is there anything?
I think one of the things I find really useful, and because you have typed everything perfectly so it doesn't show up, but is the whole spell check and grammar check as you go along.
Yes.
Yeah, I think like that might be something we can demonstrate or show.
Excellent.
I know that we have to misspell a word, which List doesn't do, so this is going to be difficult.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm looking at these words going, how would I
misspell words? I don't do that.
Yeah. Library?
Yeah, library is easy too. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we have an obvious typo on
Yeah.
our document.
Yeah, so if let's keep typing, theoretically it should recognize that. So let's see if so you can see already right away there's a dotted line, just like in Microsoft Word, it gives you that dotted line indicating, and when you click on it, it will give you a suggested spelling, which in this case is suggested liberty.
Yeah, so you can ignore, you can provide feedback. This is all artificial intelligence, so I am just going to ignore that. But it's a great way to alert you if you're typing away and you're not, you just want to get your ideas down on the page. It's a good way to alert you to the fact that, hey, maybe we need to do some editing before we show this to somebody else. All right, so we've got some standard menu options up at the top here. We've got File. I'll skip ahead and we'll come back to this because I want to talk about saving your documents and whatnot, and also sharing in just a moment. Now, if we head over to Edit, you'll notice that some of the icons that were on the tool bar up here at the top of our document, you'll notice that some of those functionalities are duplicated in these drop-down menus. I think they're trying to make this product as intuitive as possible for you. So whereas some people are more visual, other people work better off of a menu. So there's no right or wrong way to access these functions. There's just multiple ways to do that. And that's meant to help you be more productive when you're creating your Google Docs. Now with View, you can change what the layout looks like to you. Also, you can show the ruler or not. Some people wish to see the measurement of the page, for example, for indenting, for columns, if they create columns. That's a more advanced thing. Nothing to worry about if we're just creating basic documents. Now in Insert, you can find not only Insert Image, you can also insert tables. And it gives you a really quick and easy way to create a table. So when we hover over that menu option, you can see it gives you a very visual look at what your table would look like as you drag your mouse over the square. So it gives you the dimensions of it, 4 columns by 4 rows. It also gives you a visual look at what that looks like. So if I were to go ahead to my document, within my document to where I want to insert that table, I'll just go back up to Insert, Table, and you'll notice that as I keep going to the left, it'll expand, and also as I keep dragging down. So really, this is only constrained by how big your page is. So I'll make a 4 by 3 table. So once I click there, then it's created a table for me that is indeed 4 by 3. You'll notice here you can also insert other graphical elements, including charts, horizontal lines if you want to do line breaks, page numbers if you're creating a multi-page document, and again, your links as well. We also have headers and footers. So if you want to include specific details on every single page, like a document name or an organization name, this would be where you can access the header and footer components of your document. If we head over to Format, we'll notice different ways to format our document. And again, some of these functionalities are repeated from the toolbar, including our align and indent, as well as line spacing, bullets and numbering. And you'll also notice headers and footers and page numbers, as well as table appears here. So again, depending on how you approach your document, there's different ways to access these different functions. A really handy feature within Format that I tend to go to is text. So not only do we have our options to bold, italicize, or underline our text, we also have extra features such as strike through. So if we want to cross out some text or make some text slightly smaller, useful at doing citations or subscript as well. So for example, if I highlight our library books here and go up to format text, then I can strike that out. Now I think we have the tenets of a pretty good document here. A lot of the most commonly used features of word processing software. And as we've talked about before, saving, it has already happened. So it's been saved automatically to our drive as a Google Doc. Now, if we head right back up to File, now if we wanted to download a copy of this document and perhaps bundle it up as a different type of file, you'll notice here when we go to File, then Download, you'll see that we can download this document as a Word document with the .docx extension, also as a PDF. So once you select that, it will create that format of the document for you and save it, or you'll be able to save that version to where you specify you want to save it. Now also, if we, for example, if I was collaborating on this document with Virginia, for example, and I didn't want to download a document and then email it for her, but rather have her collaborate with me, then there's a couple of different places where we can action the sharing of this document. Now, one is going up to File and then Share, or there's this handy share button. So sharing is encouraged within Google Drive, as this is an excellent collaborative tool. So right now, when I hover over the share button, it says that the document is locked in a sense. It's private only to me. So I'm the only person logging into this account accessing this document. If I click on Share, then it comes up with this window. So what I can do is either add other individuals or groups that are using Google accounts, or a really easy way to share a document with somebody is to get a link. So all I need to do is copy the link, and then I can go into something like email, paste the link into an email, so whoever has access to that link and clicks on it will be able to access the document. So they won't have to go through getting a Google account, for example, or logging in. They can just go ahead and click the link.
And Liz, is this like, if you are, right now you've set it so that is anyone who can look at the documents, and then there's another option is if you want people to look at it but not edit it, but also look at it and edit it at the same time, right? So those are two different ways to do it.
So right now, I don't know if everybody saw that I clicked on the link below saying anyone with the link. And we've encountered this in the past where we haven't checked our settings, just fired off the link, and then that person was only able to view it. So right now, I'm saying anyone with the link can view this document. Now, you'll notice this is a drop-down menu, so if I click there, I can choose their permissions. So viewing would just be able to look at the document, scroll through it. Commenter would be able to make comments or notes, but not actually change what's in the document itself. And then editor would have full editing capabilities. So they would have the permissions to delete things, add things, change things at their will. Thank you for reminding me about that.
Only because I've done it so many times. I've sent people links and they're like, I can't edit. I'm like, yeah, it's because I never changed the settings. So only because
as have I.
Yeah.
As have I. So you think I would have remembered that by now?
No, I never do. Yeah. So yes, but super handy to have. Working together. It's on a thing to like. It's so much easier when you don't have to send things back and forth.
Even when we're working on projects in real time, I think just this morning or yesterday morning, we were both in the same Google Doc at the same time, and we could see where each other's cursors were. So each of our cursors is a different color, so we're not confusing which of us is where. And we could both edit things and see what the other person was doing right away. So it makes it super handy instead of waiting for a response from somebody you're collaborating with, which works perfectly fine. But if you happen to be in the document at the same time, then it's very apparent that you're both working off of the same version and who's making what changes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we weren't kidding when we said that Google Docs is a fairly straightforward word processing platform. And a great tool, especially for those of us who, like Virginia said, are working remotely, or perhaps we are collaborating with other people. It's really saved us a lot of hard drive space, storage space on our personal devices. Being able to store everything out there in the cloud on the Google Drive platform.
Yeah, and just like Liz said, even if you don't have a computer, if you have like a phone, you can use Google Drive. You can download the Google Drive, and there's actually a special Google Docs app, so you can just download the docs if that's the only one you use. Same on your tablet. So it's really accessible that way, because you can have multiple devices with the same document. You have access to them all. And in fact, on the mobile one, you can also make a document offline. So even if you're on the bus, which I do sometimes, like I'll be like typing things out on the bus, I don't want to use my data. So I turn off I don't have data, I turn off the Wi-Fi, but I just you can still edit things and you can have access to it offline. And once you're connected back to your Wi-Fi, then everything sync up together again. So all the things that you have typed in will still be there. It's just that you just need to get to an internet connection, and then you can sync it back up. So it's really handy. Like it's pretty much just having a word processing, or like even just taking notes. Like if you're just taking notes or reminding yourself to do things, and all of that, like it could be very handy to just have something you can type on. So
yeah, absolutely. And then they're all saved in one place in your drive. So you're not going, okay, where, which computer did I save that in? Like, is it at work? Is it at home? What folder?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Google as being a search engine itself, they're really good with the searching. So that's one thing I really appreciate too, is not having to remember where I save it. I just type in the name of it, and then it will show up as the search results for your files. So it's really nice that way. So then you don't have to worry about where it is. It's just you just try to type in the name, and then it will show up. So it's nice.
It's so handy.
Yeah.
You can tell we love this product. We are not sponsored by Google in any way, shape, or form. We just love it as users. I love using it for a recipe box. So lots of recipes to try. And, like you're saying, where is that recipe? Where did it go? And so if you type in the ingredients, if it's in your document, then it will show up. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And of course, in addition to something that is similar to Microsoft Word, the same Google Drive, you also have access to not just Google Docs, but you also have access to two other things that we will talk about next week and the week after, which is Google Sheets, which is kind of their Microsoft Excel equivalent, and Google Slides, which is their PowerPoint equivalent. So we will go through those with everybody in the next 2 weeks, so you can see that even without if you are just using it, especially like Liz said, to keep recipes, like I use Excel to do the Google spreadsheets to do like my meal plan, for example, or whatever, keep track of my budget. Google Slides, if I just need to make a quick slideshow, so all of those are available to you without having to access, if you don't have access to the Microsoft stuff. So yeah.
Can't wait. I look forward to it.
Yep. So we'll do those. Which one are we doing next? Spreadsheets, right? I think.
Yep, and that's on you. Virginia is
Yeah,
our
I know.
resident Excel/Sheets expert. So
Yeah, I don't know about expert, but yeah, but it's fun. Like I have to say, I do enjoy working with a spreadsheet, which is just a weird thing to say, but I do enjoy a nice spreadsheet.
okay, as long as one of the two of us enjoys it, then that's all that really matters. And I'm sure some of our viewers will enjoy watching that as well, and they will likely find it very useful.
I hope so. I hope so.
We shall find out next
We shall
week.
find out. That's right. All right.
Well, on that note, with a little sneak peek about what's happening next week, we just wanted to thank all of you for tuning in today for yet another Tech Thursday of Google Docs. And join us again next week, same time, same place, Thursday, of course, Tech Thursday at 2 p.m. live here on Facebook. Bye for now, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye. Have a good day.